We know some of the tricks for teaching kids to become high achievers. For example, research suggests that when parents praise effort rather than ability, children develop a stronger work ethic and become more motivated. Yet success is not the number one priority for most parents. Surveys reveal that in the United States, parents generally place far greater importance on caring than achievement. That is to say, we're much more concerned about our children becoming kind, sympathetic, and helpful. In spite of the significance that it holds in our lives, teaching children to care about others is no simple task. A certain study shows parents who valued kindness and sympathy frequently failed to raise children who shared those values. Are some children simply good-natured or not? How do kind and generous tendencies develop? Genetic twin studies suggest that anywhere from a quarter to more than half of our tendency to be giving and caring is inherited. In other words, there is still much room for education and environment. By age 2, children experience some moral emotions, feelings triggered by right and wrong. To support caring as the right behavior, research indicates praise is more effective than rewards. Rewards run the risk of leading children to be kind only when something is offered, whereas praise communicates that sharing is essentially valuable for its own sake. But what sort of praise should we give when our children show early signs of generosity? In an experiment, researchers investigated what happens when we praise generous behavior versus generous character. After 8-year-old children won some plastic toys in a game and gave some to charity, the researchers granted different types of praise to different children. For some, they praised the action, "You gave your toys to charity. That was such a nice thing to do." For others, they praised the character behind the action, "You offered a lot of your toys, didn't you? You are a nice and helpful person." A couple of weeks later, when faced with more opportunities to give and share, the children were much more generous after their character had been praised than after their actions had been. Tying generosity to character appears to matter most around age 8, when children may be starting to form notions of identity. Children learn who they are from observing their own actions. "I am a helpful person." Praise in response to good behavior is important, but our responses to bad behavior have consequences, too. When children cause harm, they typically feel one of two moral emotions, shame or guilt. Despite the common belief that these emotions are practically the same, they have very different causes and consequences. Shame is the feeling that I am a bad person, whereas guilt is the feeling that I have done a bad thing. Shame is a negative judgment about the core self, which is highly damaging. Shame makes children feel small and worthless, and they respond either by expressing anger toward the target or escaping the situation altogether. In contrast, guilt is a negative judgment about an action, which can be repaired by good behavior. When children feel guilt, they tend to experience deep regret, sympathize with the person they have harmed, and aim to make it right. In one study, young children received a doll and the leg fell off while they were playing with it all by themselves. The kids who tend to feel shame avoided the researcher and did not volunteer that they broke the doll. The kids who tend to feel guilt were more likely to fix the doll, approach the researcher, and explain what happened. The children who felt ashamed were avoiders, the children who felt guilty were amenders. If we want our children to care about others, we need to teach them to feel guilt rather than shame when they behave badly. A psychologist suggests that shame emerges when parents express anger, withdraw their love, or try to assert their power through threats of punishment. Children may begin to believe that they are bad. Fearing this effect, some parents fail to exercise discipline at all, which can harm the development of strong moral standards. The most effective response to bad behavior is to express disappointment. Parents raise caring children by showing disappointment and explaining why the behavior was wrong, how it affected others, and how they can correct the situation. This enables children to develop standards for judging their actions, feelings of sympathy and responsibility for others, and a sense of moral identity, which lead them to become a helpful person. The beauty of expressing disappointment is that it communicates the fact that you do not approve of the bad behavior, together with high expectations and the potential for improvement. "You're a good person, even if you did a bad thing, and I know you can do better."